Good day, everyone. Happy to see a few new faces in here. This is Munir Ajam. I'm the CEO of Sukkad, for those who do not know me. And I want to welcome every single one of you here today as we start to elaborate and share an insight into the Uruk platform and including a short demo. So welcome, everybody. I'm recording the meeting because some people have requested recording in case, because different time zone. If you have a friend or colleague in different time zone, we are actually going to announce tomorrow 2 new repetition of this webinar for next week. One that is mostly for evening weekday in GCC and West Asia, and one that is geared toward mostly Asia Pacific time zone. So it will be like Saturday morning in Singapore next week. So we'll be announcing those. So if you know someone in those regions that would like to participate in a live webinar, you can share those announcements when we release them. Once again, thank you. And let me go quickly through the agenda as we have planned earlier. We will be dividing this 1 hour into 2 parts. The first part, we will give you a presentation of an overview of the Uruk platform with a focus on managing a project element. And we'll pause for question and feedback. And then we'll move on to the second part where we will do a quick demo. And again, we will pause for question. Feel free to interrupt me if you need to. Let me get going. Okay, the Uruk platform, for those who are new with us, is basically something that has been in the planning for many, many years. And it was on-off project because of funding and many other situations. However, a couple of years ago, it became as a necessity, and we felt that we either have to kill that project or move forward. So we decided to move ahead. The Uruk platform, as we envision it today, and this continues to evolve. So in the future, we will be probably adding things here. Include 5 major elements. They use the term element for the major component, which is governance, managing the portfolio, managing a project, administrative, and community of practice. The green one are going to be part of the initial product that we'll be releasing within a few days. It's loading up on the server today, and we just have to do some final preparation before we go live. So potentially by the end of the week, we should be going live with the initial product, and the governance and managing the portfolio will be feature element. Today, I'm going to focus only on this part because we think this is going to be the core of the Uruk platform. This element consists of 4 what we call, we use the term functional centers. So basically, as we go into Uruk, when you log on to software, there will be a part of it is happening now. The changes are happening to match this, is that you will see 4 different what we call functional center. The first one is quite simple, called project setup. And then we will have PLC management. Then we'll have the project management function. And we have the other project management action. And I will be explaining briefly each one of them. In terms of project setup, it's quite simple. You go onto the platform, we need to get a project, whether it's already in progress or a new project. We need to set it up on the system in Uruk. So the first thing, we have to add a new project. When we add a new project, all projects can go into something we call the parking lot. So basically, they're sitting there waiting for a senior manager or a sponsor to activate the new project. So project, obviously, if an organization doing strategic planning and they have 50 projects they're planning for the next 5 years, they can actually go and enter all of them into the system, but they will be dormant. Until we are ready, until the organization is ready to move ahead with these projects, then a sponsor or a senior manager will be able to go in and activate the new project in the system. Once that is activated, then the project technically is handed over to a project manager because we name a project manager during the activation process. And then the project manager can select a tailored method once we have a few of them. The initial product will have only one tailored method. So basically, the selection is a formality. But as we proceed with developing further the Uruk program, we will be adding many tailored methods. And then, of course, with each tailored method, we will have a scheduled template. It's an MS project right now that the project manager can download and modify and start using. And that concludes that first part. With this setup, now we know the project is automatically already set up in the system. We are ready to start the PLC management. The PLC management at this time is based on, I'm not sure if you can see the book, is based on this book predominantly. And basically, it's how do we manage a project beyond waterfall and agile? Basically, ignoring the debate and argument on waterfall and agile, how do we manage project? The SOCAD way of managing project basically is based on the concept that we must integrate with asset management, must integrate with product management, and it must be end-to-end. And by end-to-end, we mean from ideation and concept, which you can see at the top of the picture here, all the way to closing the stage and beyond. The project life cycle end up with a closed stage or the project closed stage, but the actual project would remain in the for some other reason, which we will discuss in the future. What you see here is the 9 stages of the SOCAD project lifecycle standard model. But by standard, that doesn't mean fixed in stone. This model we can tailor for any different type of project. So, you know, when we talk about tailored method, we could have a project with 5 stages or 6 stages or 10 stages or 3 stages if needed, right? So that can be part of the tailoring process. But as a beginning, we believe most projects would fit something like this. Although the name might be different, depend on where you are and what type of company or organization you work for. In addition to managing across the lifecycle, which is a methodology, is a product development methodology, and that ability to manage every stage of the project, we have to manage functions, or what PMI calls them knowledge areas, and what ISO calls subject areas, which is cost, scope, you know, schedule, risk, quality, all of these. And here we have them. We have up to 15, so it's not definitely much more than what PMI or ISO offers. We have 15 different areas at this time. Now, later on, we could consolidate some of them, or we can add to them, right? As the program progress, that we will be working and that will be active along the life cycle. So in parallel to the life cycle, many of these modules will be live. However, that's a lot of work, and we will not be able to get all of that stuff done in the initial product. So in the initial product, release 1, we have the 3 green areas but it's only basic functionality for now. And we release 1.1, which will be coming out in a month or two, in a couple of months, is that the orange area. But again, I need to emphasize that these are only basic functionalities, which means what? Which means the project manager can go, we still have to manage cost estimating somewhere else. You still have to manage the schedule somewhere else, but ability to copy and enter the important information into Uruk, so we can generate the performance metrics and we can see the whole picture. We can upload file into Uruk, and I will show you how we can do that later, and be able to see basically the whole picture. Now, with time, each one of these modules, we can take it and make it as a mini software. So basically, we will be doing substantial development. For example, right now, the change management area is nothing more than entering some data. Down the road, we will have a change management module, which will include all the template, the form, the workflow for handling project changes, again, from the time they're identified until the time they're closed. The same thing with earned value management and all the other functions. There is another thing, something else we call the project management action, which is all the things that we also have to do, but to us, logically did not belong to PLC management and did not belong to the function, such as task management, issues management, project funding, performance, project performance, assessing the performance, captured lessons, and the project success. And those will be developed as well. Again, the gray here is that already included with the initial product, and the orange is what we are developing with release 1.1, which again is in about a couple of months. Altogether, what you can see, everything here, the managing the project element is quite extensive area to manage projects. So as you can see, this is not just simply managing tasks or managing the development phase of the project. We are managing every single stage of the project from ideation all the way to closure. We need to be able to manage costs, schedule, risk, quality, threats. We need to manage the contracting, the purchasing. We need to assess success. We need to capture lessons, right? All of this stuff will is already, some of it at basic functionality built in already, and others are being added as we speak. If you want to see it in, for those who like a hierarchy, like a WBS structure, here we go. We have the managing a project. Again, we have the project set up with 4 modules below it. We have the PLC management with 9 stages right now. We have the PM function, and you can see the color coding here because some of it will be ready, as we said, some of it will be future. And then we have the other action on the right. And with this way, you can see the whole picture in one place. Just a quick slide on numbers. If we think of SUCAD, Uruk now versus the future, and with release 1.x, which mean what we are the initial product and a couple of updates that we'll be releasing in the next couple of months, we will have 3 out of the 5 elements. Remember, we had 5 elements in the system. We will have 3 of them active. We will have 8 functional center, 32 modules, and dashboard element. There will be 31 dashboard element metrics, performance metrics, and will be 1 tailored method. However, if we look at the future as what we envision today, we will have 5 elements, 14 functional center. There will be more than 55 modules, and the final number is not decided yet because this is, we are using iterative incremental development. So obviously things will be evolving and changing in the future as we continue to collect feedback from our team, from our shareholders, and as we start to go to the public, like this event, and then with client as well. So this will be, the module will be, the area where most of the action are happening in Uruk. So there will be more than 55 modules, and there will be more than 100 dashboard element. And this is basically for performance metrics for the project level, the portfolio level, and even external benchmarking. In terms of tailored method, I think we're being modest by saying that we will have more than 20. I think the number will be probably more than 50 tailored method within the next 2 to 3 years. So we will be adding them gradually starting mid-January next year. A final few comments, mostly like business remarks about Uruk and the project, the managing a project element, because sometimes people ask us, how are you different than Microsoft or Primavera or Equinox or Aspen Technology or Atlassian or Basecamp? What we know is that there is no, to our knowledge, again, we could be wrong, to our knowledge, there is no product in the market, and which mean when we say in the market, that means open for anybody to go purchase it or subscribe to it, that offer a methodological approach for product development. And notice we're highlighting the word product development, we didn't say project management. Yeah, because technically our focus is on developing product. Project management is a mechanism and the tools that we are used to help develop that product, whatever that product is, and from concept to success. So to our knowledge, unless a company, organization have built something like this for their own internal use, there is no methodological approach that exists in the market. I mean, I'm sure there are things there might be template, but in terms of a software solution, digital solution, that include the workflow, the template, the stages. So it's just not just basically where somewhere you can go in and start to enter data. There are a lot of education built into Uruk as well. So even if you are novice project manager, you probably find a way to be able to learn and use Uruk quickly. So PLC management is one of the core differentiating factors for us. Another differentiating factor is tailoring. A project management methodology is not one size fits all. We cannot say, oh, the Socratic Camp standard model, the 9 stages, apply for all projects. That would be erroneous, and that would be misleading, and that is dangerous, right? So different types of project, different industries have, we're not talking about style of the project manager here. In terms of the sequence, the methodological approach, the project lifecycle is somewhat different with a lot of commonalities, but there are differences, whether you're managing project in engineering construction, or you're managing technology or marketing or finance or HR. So what we have to do is to develop tailored methods that are fit for purpose for your own different industry and domain, for the project type, and for the project size and complexity. What that means, even the same type of project, let's say facility project, we are building a facility. Building a house is different than building a tower. So what we mean, that I mean the project management methodology or method has to take into consideration the small, simpler project versus the medium to large, complex project, and even mega project. There are numerous products in the market that cover task management and or specific action like cost or scheduling. And in the process industry, I think Aspen Technology produces a very sophisticated estimating software. Obviously, in scheduling, we have P6 and Microsoft Project. But there is no integrated solution, again, to our knowledge, that connects all of these: cost, schedule, risk, quality, with the project lifecycle model in one place. Uruk would do that. And finally, we like to say here, we are managing multiple dimensions. What do we mean by this? We are managing the project lifecycle. So that means that concept to success across the stages. We have to manage that lifecycle. That's how we manage project. As a project even move from one department or division to another, we still can manage it, because definitely we change roles in the system, and then the project continue. So there is no need for handover of paperwork and then something get lost. Right? The continuity is there. So we manage a project lifecycle. Success of project depends on the success of every stage. So we have to manage every stage, even the earliest stages, such as concept and feasibility. We have to manage function, as we mentioned: cost, quality, threats, opportunities, communication, stakeholder. And we have all the supporting functions, such as project success capture method. That is in a simplified way, as much as I can simplify it, in one slide, what makes Uruk quite different than anything else that exists in the market. Again, this is to our knowledge. If someone knows something that we don't know, we really would love to hear it and to learn about it. I failed to mention, this stuff is happening in real time. That means we don't have to wait, to the month's end to generate report. And maybe the report will come 2 weeks later. At any single point in time, from anywhere, any time of the day, from any device, an executive can log into Uruk and find out the status of all projects that are happening in Uruk. And of course, the project manager can access the work on the project from anywhere, and the sponsor can access the project from anywhere and get real-time access to the minute. Right? There is no delay there. And that's extremely important in decision-making. Now, the best news, and that is the news we've been waiting for a long time, after a lot of ups and downs, it is available now for early adopter and co-creator. By now, I mean in a day or two, because we're uploading everything to the server. We want to make sure everything is working on the production module. And then early adopter. And notice we are using the word early adopter and co-creator. Now, what is this? Obviously, early adopter is well known. When you release a new product to the market, it's not going to be perfect. And we know that. And we already have a list of essential enhancements we are doing already. And of course, as user, they might identify, we start to put it into a real environment and real project from different domain, where I'm sure we might discover some bugs or gaps or areas of improvement. And so that's why early adopter is critical. Co-creator is that an opportunity we'll be offering potential clients where we can sit down with them, because we don't have the tailored method built in already, and then work with them. If they have already an existing method, we can basically digitize it. Or if they don't, we can work with them to create a digital tailored method for them, and then include it in the system for use. And I close this part on time with that slide. I would be stop sharing the slide right now and open the discussion for questions and answer that you might have. And we'll give it 10 minutes. Then we'll move on to the second part. We'll do a quick demo, rough demo as much as we can. I'm glad to see we have 26 people. Okay, when we started, there were like about 12 people, I think, online. All right. Any question? Feel free to jump in.
Hello, Munir. Can you hear me? This is Ali.
We hear you, Ali.
Okay, good to see you. I have a few questions, but I'll start with one and then leave the floor for others. So you mentioned that you will be delivering tailored processes starting next year sometime, right? The question is, can the client still customize the tailored processes?
I mean, obviously, there are certain things a client can decide what they want. But right now, basically, it's going to require an engagement with us because it needs programming. It needs to be programmed and integrated with everything else in the system. So a client cannot go in right now and start to basically develop a different tailored method to use and then use Uruk for it. I mean, they can take the concept and do something on their own and do it on paper. Yeah, but if they want to digitize, we have to program it in.
Okay, and if the percentage of customization, client's customization to the tailored processes is like within 5%, is that something doable within the system, or that's professional services?
I mean, some of it could be within the system. I mean, we can do some certain things within the system, but not yet. I mean, we still remember in the early product, we wanted to get the product out. We did not focus as much as how much can we allow a client to customize themselves. If it is something, nothing major, we can do it very quickly, and they can immediately start using the product. We believe if even something major, right, it could be done maybe within weeks. Obviously, if we're talking about, we're talking about the things that are related to the project lifecycle. If somebody come back tomorrow and said, I want you to give me a method to manage mega project, okay, that's gonna require, a lot of time. But it depends on the level of customization. It can be done within days or weeks. That's very important. However, we also have to set some rules and guidelines. And I'll be direct here. If a client come back and they want to butcher the methodology, we'll probably reject that business. Because what we are building a lot of a new way or paradigm. We're trying to introduce a paradigm shift in the way we manage project, including a lot of governance in place. So if a client come back and told me, and we were discussing this with our advisors the other day, eliminate the sponsor. We don't need sponsor in this organization.
Yeah.
I probably say, sorry. You can take whatever you want and eliminate it, but then that defeats the purpose, right? So sure. Our objective is not to sell software. Our objective is to help clients improve the way they manage project. And what we are building based on decades of experience, our own experience, reflection on real job, learning from the good, the bad, and the ugly, in addition to a lot of research by leading organizations, we trying to introduce into Uruk. So we're trying to offer the leading practice of project management across, especially methodology. So there are certain things we might draw the line on, say, sorry, this is something we will not be willing to bypass. But in general, customization, it's in the future, our hope is to make to give a client a lot of power of customization. But in the beginning, we cannot do that.
Sure, I think that will, make us more focused on the product development and delivery, than handling every case in the market.
Correct.
So I see that definitely. Now, I said I will ask one question. Unless somebody has another question, I can ask the second one. Is that yes? Is that okay to ask?
I think Amr jumped in, and yes, Amr.
Go ahead, Ali. I'll follow you. Go ahead.
Okay. So you, thank you. Munir, you also mentioned that you are planning to develop advanced, or did I pick that wrongly? You're planning to develop advanced scheduling functionality in the later versions. Is that correct, or I picked it up wrong?
Advanced?
Within Uruk.
No, I mean, I think there are advanced solutions in the market. I cannot develop an MS project where you have MS project in the market is already good. So I'll integrate with it, right? And construction people like to use P6. So I'm not going to go generate P6, something like it took probably 30 years to develop. I will integrate with it, right? I know there are organizations out there, they have developed probably construction methodology or construction management stuff. Maybe we'll integrate with it, right? So our intention, our philosophy is that we want to be the umbrella. We want to be maybe as the main project management solution that client can use. But we realize we cannot do everything. And we don't need to do everything because some product exists in the market that we can integrate with or synergize with, right? So wherever there are some good product in the market, there are potential synergies. We will try to reach agreement with them in order to synergize and to integrate or to provide through API and whatever else mechanism we can have. Because there are a lot of existing good stuff in the market. We don't have to replicate it ourselves. We just need to provide that interface so a client can see everything related to the project in one place across the life cycle. An executive can be able to see and drill down to find out where are we, where do we have issues, how is the project is progressing in real time, right?
I see that. Thanks. I'll keep the last question for later time.
Okay. Yes, I thought you unmuting earlier. Is that something you want to share or anyone else?
Oh, thank you. I'm just enjoying the session. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great.
Munir, I have a question, please.
Yeah.
You know, like any other software, does Uruk require a specialist to run the software, like scheduler for a Primavera or cost control specialist for any cost software, or each stakeholder or each member of the team has to access the system and has a certain contribution?
Your question is really two-part. To need expert? No. I mean, technically, anyone who understands the basic of project management can use the system. At the end of the day, the system is very intuitive, very friendly, it's guided, it has the template built in, it has the workflow built in, right? So we're trying to automate as much as we can in order to leave the project manager and the project team and the sponsor time to create, time to be creative, time to analyze and do whatever they need to do to get their project successful. No expertise to manage to follow the life cycle model in Uruk as far as Uruk is concerned. Obviously, if you need, we need to have the project needs someone to have expertise in scheduling. That is happening on MS Project or Primavera, and they need to have that person. Uruk will obviously not, in the future, SUCAD and Uruk can provide manpower and resources to help clients, but you don't need a scheduling expert or a risk expert to manage Uruk, to use Uruk, right? You need the expert to do the expert work. I mean, if you need, for example, doing the feasibility, you need someone to do market analysis, you need the market analysis expert. That person would be assigned a license. If the company wants to use that person to have them access, they will have access, they will be issued a license, and they can use the system to go into the system and enter their data. So they will have tasks to manage because they will be assigned certain tasks related to the project. So they will be assigned tasks and they will be able to enter the system and enter the data and enter their timesheet and do whatever they need to do in Uruk itself, right? They might be using some sophisticated solution outside, like financial management. Somebody might use a very sophisticated financial modeling system outside, but they will go into Uruk and document it, summarize it, upload the file, upload the result, and whatever is necessary. So what's not in Uruk, was not in Uruk to be entered where you have a box to enter data, you have the ability to add boxes and you have the ability to upload files.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other question, I mean, obviously you can ask question later. Let's move on. I'm gonna share the screen again. Share my screen with a peek into the platform itself. You see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm skipping the steps of registering and logging in and all of that stuff. So when you log into the system, whether you are actually, before I explain what we have here, we have what we call system user. In the system, as a system, we have three types of user. We have the admin for the client. Obviously, SUKAD will have an admin ourselves, and we'll have our own admin panel. But for the client, there will be a client administrator. That is the one who can manage, add users, interface with us for licenses. There is a user role. So basically, these are, the user role is anyone who need to have a license to enter. Now, down the road, or actually soon, we will have a view-only license. So basically, when a client decides to subscribe and they want to get some licenses for their team member and their project manager, maybe some executive they don't need access to the system to enter data. So we will give them a view-only license. So they will be able to view everything that's happening, but they cannot do any actual work in there if they choose to. I mean, obviously, if they need to do work in there, they will have to have a user license. So we have an admin and we have a user. And we have something called the senior manager. That's in the system. Those are when we add user, we will have these three types. Within a project, we will have three users as well. We have a sponsor, three roles, sorry. Now we have project roles, right? We need to have a sponsor, we need to have a project manager, and we need to have team members. And of course, maybe we can have 0 team member and the project manager does everything, or we could have 100 team members. Now later, with future addition, we will be separating the team member into 2 groups. Project management team members, such as cost estimator, scheduler, cost control, a planner, those kind of roles that are really more project management versus the actual technical role that will be doing the work. Right now, we have sponsor, PM, and the user, and a project team member. These are the primary role in the system. So whenever a user, anyone, sponsor, PM, they will log in, they will see this is the Uruk home, and they see in 2 months you will see 5. Now we don't have governance shown. We will show governance as well, but notice the portfolio is not active yet. So we'll have the 3 areas here. I'm gonna focus on managing a project. If you look at the left menu, just quickly, obviously we can access stuff directly from here, from the screen, or from the left menu. We'll have some shortcut. Not all the shortcut will be here, but there will be some shortcut. For example, if I click on managing a project, I can go straight to starting a project, or PLC management, or the supporting function, or other action. Now this will be changed. If I want to go to administrative, I can go timesheet, I can go team chat, I can go calendar. And community of practice, I have community discussion or knowledge portal. And there are other action below. We put task management here, although it's inside, because often enough, most user will be going straight to tasks. So we put it here as a shortcut. And then we have project and report. That in a simple view of the left menu. So if I close all of them right now, and let's say I have a new project. Now I enter the system, I want to manage a project. We will go to managing a project. And we will see, again, this will be changed based on the present. This does not align 100% with the presentation. That's being changed, right now. But in general, there will be many of the same things. So the first thing I need to do is start a new project. So let's say, obviously, I'm a team member or anyone with license, I can start a new project. So if I click on this, that will have this form. And you will notice that only few things here that have an asterisk, which is me mandatory. Because remember, whoever set up the project and the system, it could be a secretary. And that means that we're not managing anything right now, we're just entering the data. So to enter a project, we can enter some data. We'll have to name the idea generator. We have at the bottom right, we have to put who is requesting the project. The only other requirement right now is a project sponsor. We have to name someone who is a project sponsor role, who have a senior manager role, because those are the people who can actually activate a project. So in this case, now we have Bill as a sponsor, as the one that I have done already, that basically have the power to activate project. Now notice here, I can add an organizational unit, I can add subsidiary unit. So basically I can say technology, I can say Uruk, I can say project one, right? So depend on your organization structure, you can put 3 levels of organization in here. And the reason for this is for the executive later on, if they want to zoom in, you know, if I'm the head of technology, I want to see all technology project, I will be able to sort based on organizational unit. I can name a project manager here, but I don't have to because that's the sponsor role later. I have a question, is the project part of a program or not? Is the program name? And if the program part of the strategic plan, is the project part of the strategic plan, whatever information. Later on, we will be adding more content here. And I can put the target completion date if I want to. I don't have to, because remember, I might be just a secretary for the sponsor. I might not have enough information. So all I need just to get the system and the project and the system and get the sponsor to set it up. And I submit. Now, if I go on the left, I go to project, I see there are some projects already built in, but this last one here is the last one that we just added. And notice here, it says pending activation. That means this project is not active yet. That means we cannot, the only thing we can do right now, I can go back and edit it. I can edit the information, but that's it. I cannot do anything with it until a sponsor go into the system and activate it. Those 2 other projects are activated already, right? So I'm gonna go into the system as a sponsor. So let me stop sharing here. Now share the screen for the sponsor. As a sponsor, notice I received notification here on top right corner. If I click on it and view all notification, I see there is this GoHoHo project was submitted to review and you are assigned as a project sponsor. So now as a sponsor, I can click detail. I can go, I can see the information. I can edit anything. Yeah, I can edit anything that I can edit. Once the project number is set and the date created, I cannot edit those, right? And date activated will be automatically generated once I click activate. Now, as a sponsor, I can go and review the information, modify it, change it, do whatever I want. And I said, look, we're not ready to go yet. So I can press hold and the project will stay open in the parking lot. No project manager is assigned, no one can work on it yet, but it's sitting there until I'm ready. When I'm ready, I will say activate. Now, if I go, I think it's already activated. Stop share. Go back to the project manager role. Let me see, maybe it was a hiccup or it works. It didn't work. I need to figure out what's happening. Okay. it should have shifted to now. This is the data here is on the testing that is 3 weeks old. So, okay. Anyway, let me go to a quick view of a project that is already active so you can see the managing a project. So let me go back to Uruk Home. I want to manage a project and I want to manage an existing project. So I can go here on anywhere I want, or I can go to the project list on the left to select a project, and I select the first project. And obviously that project is already started. So I can go to do anything else in here. I cannot close the project yet, but I want to show you working the stages. And when you go to work in the stages, the one thing you will see is that you will see the life cycle for that specific tailor method. So in the future, when we have different tailored methods, they will be shown here. And I can close this, or I can show it. And what this is telling us, it's showing us on the top part here, where are we today? So basically, based on this, activation is stage gate 0. We have already done the concept stage and approved the gate 1. We have done the feasibility stage and approved gate 2. So right now we are in the requirement stage. So that, and notice 3 is still gray. That means we have not finished the requirement stage. If I go below, it will show me again all 9 stages and the deliverable on the left and the gates on the right. And obviously stage gate 0 is approved. We have done the concept stage and it's approved. We have done the feasibility stage and it's approved. Now I'm in the requirement stage. Here where we are entering, remember I talked about we manage the project across the life cycle and then we have to manage every stage. That means every stage we need to plan it. So if I go to plan, and now it's very simple because this is a simple project. And basically what in here, what can I do? It can show me the team member. I can add team member if they are available. Right now, I don't have any other team member or any user in the system other than these 3. So I cannot add any new team member. But I can see we have a sponsor, we have a PM, we have a team member, and all of these are assigned. So now what do I do? I can go and to MS project, and we will be providing a template like what you're going to be seeing here. And then I will open it. Today we are in the US, but yet the internet is slow. Notice what you see here in gray, that means these things we have downloaded them before. So if I go down to the requirement stage, obviously I'm taking shortcut, I'm not explaining everything. And the requirement stage is primarily about producing a project requirement document. So I can click here, and these are already built into the MS project template that we are providing. So if I click here, I can download everything below it. And notice I have up to 15 work packages here. I can download them all, or I can be selective and download 1 or 2 or 3. So let me see, I want to download them all. I complete. If I go to task management, right, and I can go to short, I'm in the requirement stage. I select the requirement stage, and I see, notice the work packages that I have, work package 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these are downloaded. based on whatever data we have on the schedule. I can assign team member to them, Uruk users. So let me do it only for one for now, just to show you. So all the work packages, I downloaded them. I go and said, okay, I want to edit this one. And that gives you a description here of the task. It's a work package 1, description of the product. It's a requirement stage. We are in the planning process. The estimated hours on the schedule was 24. I'm going to assign the project. I'm the project manager, so I'm going to assign this task to myself. The start date is 17 November 2021. I can modify it if I want to. I can add description, and I have to assign any other team member going to work with me. So here I'm going to assign myself and another team member, and then I click check. Technically, I should be doing this to all the other work packages because every work package must have a leader, an assigned leader, and team members that need to work on it. So assume I've done all of that right now. I don't want to spend more time on this. I want to go back and show you. Remember, I'm in the requirement stage. I have planned the stage. Now I want to implement the stage. So I go to implement. And what happened here? All the deliverable, all the work packages that I just saw downloaded from the schedule as line item, they are here, right? So what do I have to do here now? I go and link. So I go like this. I said link task. Now, what does it mean? That means this task now is required for this item. And based on who's assigned, if I assign this to a team member, then they will have this box open. And if a person does not have access to it, they will have just a dash in there. That means they don't have access. So with this, we will have all the data, all the work packages here completed. Once they're complete, we go in and enter the data. For example, let me talk about one of them. Stakeholder input, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be able to interview people through Uruk, but as a project manager, I need to go talk with the stakeholder, collect their input. Maybe I collect it verbally, I record it, and then I can come up and upload it here as a recording, or I can document it as a document and I can come and enter the text here. Or I can go down below and attach a document, right? If there's other information, I can add an information block. Right, so I can enter a new information here. I said, okay, I want to do a new special action. That means it's not in the template. Something we don't have in the template. And it's going to be a checkbox. I just basically enter and enter the option here. Yes. No. Let's make it a date picker, right? Easy. And that's it. I click the check mark and I just added something here. I want to stop here because obviously this is, I can spend an hour or two in here. But what I wanted to show is that this template for every stage gate is built in. The schedule template is built that can help you identify. You don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. Okay, you can go create your own. You can go to task management and create all your tasks. All of these tasks, you can create them on your own manually. What we are doing, we are trying to give you on the MS project template, the standard that we know, the key work packages that have to be performed on the project based on the tailored method. And you just download them and link them. If you have already assigned resources on them on MS project, the resources will come with it, right? So that's an opportunity where you can save a lot of time. In the PLC management, again, when we work on the stage, all that information, once the template are there, the workflow is there. Once I'm done with the work pack, with the stage deliverable, like the requirement document or the project management plan or the feasibility study report, I submit it to a sponsor for approval and the sponsor will have to approve it. One more thing I want to show you. Obviously, we can have supporting function, the cost schedule, those things will be added. So if I go to cost, notice there is not a lot of stuff. As we said, for the first version, is only a place to enter data, nothing more than that. We can have funding the project, and there will be 4 funding areas, 2 of them for the future, but let's say final funding, I can go in and again, fill some information to request funding. I can have reports. I can generate reports. I can create, for example, right now the only active is 2 status report, and then I will be able to get the metrics. I'm not sure if the metrics are live on this one yet, so let me go back to see, because we are updating them as we speak. Yeah, notice most of the metrics are here, but they will be showing as empty right now because we don't have any project data populated, but many metrics will be appearing, performance element here. Again, let me stop there. I will keep the screen here for a second. If you have anybody anywhere you want me to go to, I can go to.
Munir, can you download any of these reports to Excel if
Yeah.
applicable?
Yes, I did not show you. So if I create a report, you see the button. I don't know, my screen.
No, not really. Can you scroll down a little bit? Oh, there are buttons that I can't see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can create the report. You can create and send as an email. It cannot, it's not downloadable to Excel because obviously the data, I mean, it's not Excel formatted. Yeah, because there are text, there are different things, right? And not also here, notice, depend on where you are in the project, you have an option basically said include all completed deliverables. In this case, we are in the requirement stage. So I can say, give me the project brief and the feasibility study, download them as well. So in addition to whatever text I enter on this and whatever you see on the screen, I will be able to say, okay, also give me the project brief and all its attachment and the feasibility study and all of its attachment. So remember I showed you, you can upload file to any stage deliverable. When you say download it, it will download with it. So it come out as a PDF file.
Yeah, okay, good. I have a question, maybe actually a comment and question. So if,
okay,
can I go ahead? Okay, let me start with the comment. I noticed that the data entry labels or the fields are using gray color font, which is somehow not very easy for the eyes for data entry. So if you just go to any form and create a project, for example, let me show you what I mean. If you could go to
oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
You know how,
go where?
Go to create a project, for example, and do any data entry. Start.
Okay.
So if you say project title, this is good, but until you start typing, no, just go ahead and type a project title. Say test. So that color is somehow not very comfortable in data entry. It's just my observation, and you know how bad test in colors.
Okay.
That might come out with some pushback, especially with people in my age.
No, I mean, that's fine. If something like this, we can just request a change and we change the font.
Yeah, it's font darkness degree or something that needs to be looked into. The other one, the real quick one, which I had in the beginning, is about integration. And I like the approach of integrating with the best products available in the market, like MS Project or Primavera 5 or the 6 or whatever it is, and other tools. How about integrating with Scrum products, products that manage, well, software that manage product development, like Jira or DevOps from Microsoft, and they're basically designed into managing the sprints of the product.
Yeah, I mean, we later on we will have the right now the whole concept of every stage, right? And every stage have to be planned, implemented. The same thing. This is the same concept for any iteration or increment, right? So we can basically down the road when we go toward the iterative or incremental development, we can build the iteration built into the system.
So we'll have that in future?
Yeah, it's definitely, the feature is there. It's not gonna be, we're not gonna go try too much Scrum or, but
No,
I mean,
yeah.
the idea of iterative development and incremental development, I mean, that's the whole concept of camp. I mean, every stage is an increment, is an iteration of the previous one in a way, right? So within the development, instead of having, you're gonna have work packages, right? Technically, this is a problem, I think, where we continue to have between people who work on facilities and people who work on IT. Technically, people who work in IT and Agile, they think they discovered project management. Sorry, forgive me, I hope I'm not insulting anybody. But technically, what you call a sprint, what Agile or Scrum calls sprint, it's a work package.
Yes, I see exactly what you're seeing, and I've been seeing that since long time too.
Yeah, so technically what we're saying is that every work package have to be analyzed, planned, implemented, tested, and released, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and that can be done. I mean, when you go into a project where you are doing incremental development during the development phase, right? The difference between that and a work package is, in a work package, we don't release it to the client, whereas in an incremental development, we might be releasing to the client or to the end user. So
you still see Uruk will be integrating with one or two, prime products which manages software development projects.
No, wait. I did not. I'm talking about the ability to do incremental iterative development will be part of Uruk, right? And technically, it's indirectly already is, because you can do it. You can do it offline and just document it. But what I'm integrating with a specific tool, I cannot tell you now on that, because we have not analyzed which specific. I mean, if we want to use a specific tool like Jira or if we can do everything in Uruk, not everything. Whatever we can do in Uruk, we will do in Uruk. If there is a product out in the market, what I said before, that is very powerful, and that is something that we cannot readily implement within Uruk, then we would definitely look at integration. Now, which specific tool, I cannot, that would require, obviously I cannot do that because I need to have someone who's an IT expert who will be able to assess and help with that decision. So the question is in two parts. Will incremental iterative development be part of Uruk? Absolutely, this is part of every tailored method. Every tailored method will have to have a choice. Is it going to be done as a sequential product, one delivery at the end, or is it going to be iterative or incremental? Every tailored method will have that feature, that one. Now, what tools to use or integrate with, that's a different story.
I get it. I'm just typing it that way too.
Yeah. I have a couple of questions. Let me talk on chat and then we can continue open the question. One question is what Uruk stands for. Uruk actually is a name that comes from ancient Mesopotamia, which is Ur, or there were actually two cities, one called Ur and one called Uruk, and sometimes we confuse them, the two. That is part of the Sumerian civilization that existed 5,000 years ago. And it was supposedly one of the most advanced cities at that time, that I think one of them was up to 60,000 people population. And for those who might be interested in some history, this is where the Gilgamesh epic is basically centered around Uruk. My late partner, Mr. Neville Godhill came up with a name because it relates to the origin names of Sukkad, which is Sumer and Akkad. So basically, he came up with that name. So the intention, definitely, so it's not an abbreviation. It's a name of a city, of an ancient city that was considered quite advanced, and the idea that what Uruk will be, it's a quite advanced project management solution. That's the only question I have in the chat. Let me stop sharing. And I have one more thing I want to check. We have a poll. I am going to ask you to please check the poll. And then obviously I'm still open for any question you have. It's one question poll, so if you don't mind answering, will be great. And again, I'm happy to take any questions. And obviously it can be offline as well. I mean, you can reach out to me later. I put my my LinkedIn profile and Sukkad profile in the chat, so you can reach out at your convenience if you want to do a discussion in private.
So Munir, before you conclude, give me a minute, please, and before everybody else leaves.
Yeah, I was going to come to you. Said you because you've been exciting me. You said you have a surprise.
Yes, I do. I'm just waiting for everyone to finish the poll.
Hey Munir.
So,
Good evening, everybody.
Hi,
Good morning, Munir. How are you?
All right, how are you?
Very well, very well. A couple of my colleagues had some issues logging in, so we're looking forward to the recording.
Okay.
Just FYI for the future, Munir, some corporations did not or doesn't recognize Zoom because probably of its origin.
Okay.
So they implement Microsoft Teams or some other mediums.
Okay.
Anyways, quick question on this one. I'm kind of interested in the reporting piece. And this is what most clients will be, especially clients that are running programs. They will have a lot of project managers, which could be internal or external.
Yes.
Assigned as users, basically. And they're going to be running the project on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
While the client, myself for now, I will be interested in logging in, checking the report, and making sure that we are on track. There are no variations on budget. There are no problems on schedule. So maybe I have missed it in the while you were sharing the screen, or it wasn't very clear in the reporting how to download that, or how does it appear? And if I open a report, what are my expectations to see?
Well, two things. If you're talking about external provider, obviously they can email you a PDF file that include their text, their reporting, whatever information you would want to be in that report. We can tailor a report, right? Okay. And then they will include all the performance metrics based on where you are on the project, and can include all the deliverables that have been produced to date.
Okay.
And that will come as a PDF file.
Okay. And now, this can be customized, like with company logos and stuff, I guess?
We're gonna do that. It's not yet. It's not yet. Okay. I mean, there are a lot of enhancements, especially on the look and feel and the appearance that will come later. We wanted to get the product out so at least people can start to see it.
For sure.
But another way of doing it, Samer, is that basically depend who own the license, right? Of Uruk. If you own it or your provider own it, right? They can give you an access license, where you will be able, and you go around, and you don't only have to wait for the email report. You can at any given point in time, if they give you access, right? Okay. And you can see what's going on, and they can give you view-only license, so you cannot touch anything.
Okay.
Okay. So you will be able to go. You look at the cost sheet. You look at anything in the Uruk. You can go and you can take a look. You don't have to just look for the report. So that's another way of getting access. And I think in the past, NADA have requested, and we will do later on an individual license or something like this. But the way you don't have, what I'm saying is that your user don't have to work for you. You can add any user you want.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
The other question I have really quick is most of those that they call themselves project management online tools are mostly data management, database. So just, upload a folder and create folders and all this stuff, which isn't very useful.
Yeah.
Having said that, there is still a gap in document controlling. So will Uruk have a part document controlling, at least on the main stages? Schematic design is done, for example, and use the document.
And not a full document management in that perspective, but technically what we are saying is that with every stage of the project, the document will be uploaded. Now, part of that what you're talking about, that will be part of the portfolio management tools that we will be creating later, that includes all the project files. So right now, there is no per se is a document management system. There is a project management system. So basically all the project and all their document will be sitting there. Now we have a library. We're going to create a library, but that is for public information. We can create something like this, basically and that might be, I think one of my colleague Ahmed has suggested that before, is that to potentially replicate the library for within the client. So basically only client. Right now, what we have, for example, in communication, we have discussion forum that any user in Uruk from anywhere, from any company and any client can actually access.
Okay.
And they can post thread and they can discuss. So that's open to anyone with access to Uruk. And there is an internal chat within a client, within a workspace. So basically, when we have a client that subscribe to Uruk, they will have a chat ability that anybody within that organization can use that chat service. Later on, I want to split that into two parts. I want to make it one that is organizational chat. So anyone within the organization can chat together. And that could also have a library. And one that would be for team members only. So only basically people who are working on one project can exchange, or do like a Slack, and that we have not finalized the design, or do like a Slack service where the organization can have like Slack account and then channel for every project. So that is not finalized yet how we will do this. But right now there is an internal communication and there is an communication with everybody in the system. Now that what you're saying there is definitely there. I can see there is a need for a library for a client.
Munir, if you don't mind, responding to Samir's question, I think under Uruk we can do it, because when we develop the stages and phases, there will be a stage called schematic design under the design phase. And under the schematic design stage, all related documents can be kept there, correct?
Yes.
Like the project brief, like the project requirements document, like any other documents.
Correct. But that's right? For the project, Amir,
I think
right?
the deliverable
for the project and for the stage. So if I want to go access, I want to access a specific stage in all its document, I will be able to access it. But I don't have a library of all document for all projects right now, right? I think that's what Samir was talking about.
Could be both. At least if the deliverable package itself is uploaded or has a place to be stored, that would be good. Having said that, different organizations, again, different size of the organization and their cloud IT service thing could have different levels of accepting having their confidential data stored in a different cloud.
Yeah.
So I know of some instances that cloud, that database could be stored on an organizational or an organization's approved database. But again, it's not super critical. All organizations, I mean, speaking of ourselves, we have our own cloud service and we keep our libraries there, which is basically on Microsoft Drive. But from a project management perspective, I think you answered me. Most critical to us is the reporting from a cost, budget, and stage work package, which is great. This is really promising.
Yeah. But Samir, let's be careful, right? I mean, right now, Uruk is focusing on managing the methodology, managing the life cycle, right? So it's not like a project control software right now. Yeah,
Right.
it's not a scheduling software right now. Yes, the data, the information could be generated elsewhere and summarized into Uruk, and you'll be able to see it. So obviously, for cost control, it might be easier to come up with something. For estimating, every industry is different, right? So there are a lot of things that the highly specialized industries, we cannot accommodate everybody except through tailoring. That's the idea of tailoring, where we can sit with the client and then anything they need, like for example, even the confidentiality of information, separate server, we talked about that before, that can be set up and generated where your data can be stored elsewhere. I think Ali was raising this issue before as well. So once you have a systems in place, if something is not there, it might be relatively easy to implement on a case-by-case basis.
No, I agree. I mean, even I've used personally some other cost or some other platforms with cost models, and we ended up just using Excel because it's more easier, more in answer. So perfect.
By the way, probably, I'm not sure if you logged in before, I'm gonna repeat, I mean, obviously the recording will be available, but we will be repeating the webinar, I think next Wednesday evening, Dubai, UAE, GCC time, and Saturday morning for Singapore time. Now, you raise a point today, if people don't have access to Zoom, maybe later we should do one on Teams, maybe something to consider.
Teams would be, Teams would be great.
Yeah.
My team are based in Houston, Munir. So
the guys are
I'm gonna ask them to come and meet you actually.
I can go meet them. We are starting client visit in first of early November. So next week we will start to contact clients.
This could be great.
Yeah, we already have at least one potential industrial firm here in Houston. We had a request from Malaysia.
Very good.
So, anything else?
Munir, this is Sofian. First of all, congrats on a great platform.
Sofian, how are you? Thank you.
Sorry, I had to join later, so I will watch the part of the tape. Two questions I hope they were not asked before. Recently, I noticed there is a high demand for Arabic version, especially when you deal with government.
Yes.
Especially also in Saudi KSA. Is there any plans for the Arabic version?
Yeah, I mean, as part of the program vision, right? Because Uruk is a program, not only Arabic, other languages as well. Because we are restricted on funding, so our first priority is for left to right languages first. So maybe the next language would be Spanish, because in North America, that's second language. The right to left languages are harder. That doesn't mean if there is a client needed, it can be done. I mean, we already had discussion with the development team on this, which just is a matter of saying, okay, this is a priority. I have a client want this, and then might need about 4 to 5 weeks to generate it.
Okay. And the second question, is there a mobile version of this platform?
Yeah, I mean, technically, this is one of the biggest challenges I have, is because I wanted to put more graphics, and the development team keep telling me, sorry, you cannot do that because that will kill the mobile on tablet. You should be able to access this from any device.
Okay.
But the menu, I mean, obviously, some of it for just regular quick review or check, obviously mobile devices, if you really want to do heavy work,
of course, yeah.
Desktop version. But yes, it should. I haven't tested it yet, but I've seen it on when I adjust, for example, my screen size on. It's dynamic adjustment for the menu.
Okay, thank you, Munir.
Thank you, Ali. I'm waiting for your surprise, and then of course, anybody have any question, we can you can still ask as well. I will hang out. First. I will be here as long as you need me. So,
questions first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, if no questions, Munir, do you recognize this? Do you see it first?
No, because
okay, let me just
virtual background.
Let me just remove my virtual background. You'll see my actual location. Although, let me just. You know, sometimes, okay, let me just see if I can remove it. Okay, do you see this?
Of course.
It
The
is 14 years.
old SUCAD logo.
Yes, it is 14 years from today where I did my first training.
Oh, is it 14 years?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was about to walk away from the first break because I believe this is not going to work for me. Okay.
Okay, that's a surprise. You never told me this. Okay.
Yes, I never thought that, but I've been telling this with every story I start project management training and consulting job that I did. Yeah, I still remember Yusuf Saad, who even asked me, did you do this before? I said no, and he said because your average results are your results are above average, so you should stick around and
or in our entrance exam. Okay.
14 years later, I formed Matrix with a partner who's supposed to be present today, but he could not make it. Matrix is a project management consultancy. I don't want to steal the show. It's not in public yet, but it will be soon public. So thank you for showing me where is my passion and where is what I could do more. And I just wanted to give you, thanks in front of everybody.
Thanks, Ali. I'm excited, and it's been a long time. We've been friends, and I've enjoyed the relationship over the years, and we've met sometime in Dubai, sometimes in Houston, and looking forward for more meeting. We haven't met in Oman yet, so maybe I'll come.
You're most welcome anytime.
So I've been to Oman before, but for some reason, I guess it was mostly quick business. It's interesting, Ali, what Ali was saying. I mean, obviously, a lot of our original shareholders is some people I've never met, and some people who have, like Amr, I think took a course with me, probably about the same time, Amr, right? 14 years ago?
Yes, was 2008.
Okay.
2007, 2008, yeah.
For those who don't know, Amr is is one of the original shareholders with us, and he's on our board. And we have also Nada here. She worked with me many years ago, and we continue to work. And she's also on our board. So we have two board members with us here on the call. And we have a few other people that we've known for a long time. Actually, we have some other shareholders. Mohammed Khadr is here. I don't know if you notice the project manager, Simsum. That's my son, Sumar. He's online with us. And some new name I haven't seen before. I haven't met, so hopefully we'll be meeting, or we'll get a chance to talk again. So thank you, everybody. I will give you a minute for any other last minute question, if anybody want to say anything.
Thank you for your time, and congratulations, Ali.
Thank you.
Looking forward, Ali, to work with the next first client in Oman or anywhere.
I have it on my mind, but it's just not the platform to disclose.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. We took a little bit longer, much longer than we expected. So I appreciate you hanging around. And again, thank you and have a great day.